After I reveal some of these missions, I think it's best I relocate, fake my death, and go live somewhere in Cuba. Because these are the top 10 dark CIA missions the Pentagon leaked to the public. I'm yours Andrew, and without further ado, let's get right into this list. Coming in at our number 10 spot, we have the Phoenix Program. The Vietnam War was a brutal conflict that shaped history, and one of its lesser known stories is that of the Phoenix Program. History lesson: so in 1967, the CIA, in collaboration with Australia and South Vietnam, initiated a mission to destroy the Viet Cong called the Phoenix Program. The program was very controversial as it involved targeted killings, torture, and even terrorism. However, it was laser focused on its mission and was designed to cripple the enemy by any means necessary. One former soldier who was initially against the Viet Cong became the active participant in their affairs because of the Phoenix Program. Despite its controversial methods, it was able to cause significant damage to the Viet Cong before being shut down in 1972. However, the South Vietnamese government continued the program under a new name, Plan F6. You know, the mission didn't work out the way they wanted to because y'all lost the war. What? I didn't say that. Number 9, the Tucana Project. During the Cold War between the United States and the former Soviet Union, the CIA's Office of Research and Development got very creative and turned to the animal kingdom to create the Tucana Project. And if you ever thought the government is spying on us with fake birds, then you were partially right when this mission took place. The project involved creating a small camera that could be carried out by a pigeon for espionage purposes. Pigeons had already proven themselves useful in carrying wartime messages, so their idea was to take their capabilities to the next level. The US conducted tests on the efficiency of tiny cameras attached to these pigeons, and the results were surprisingly decent. This led to a full-fledged pigeon mission being planned in September 1976. However, the specifics of this mission and its results still remain classified. The Tucana Project was certainly an unusual approach to espionage, even during a time when wacky ideas were not in short supply. Coming in at a number 8 spot, we have WikiLeaks. In March 2017, WikiLeaks shook the world by publishing over 8,000 confidential documents from the CIA, codenamed Vault 7. These documents dated from 2013 to 2016 and revealed details about the CIA's software capabilities that were previously unknown to the public. Among the most shocking revelation was the CIA's ability to compromise everyday devices like cars and even smart TVs. The documents showed that the CIA had developed tools that could remotely control these devices, even if they were not connected to the internet. So basically, no one's safe. Additionally, documents revealed the CIA had the ability to hack into the operation systems of most smartphones, including Apple's iOS and Google's Android, as well as other operating systems such as Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. The source of the leak remains unknown, but WikiLeaks stated that the files had been circulated among former US government hackers and contractors in an unauthorized manner, one of whom provided WikiLeaks with portions of the archive. Number 7, Operation Peter Pan. And we're not talking about everyone's favorite movie. Operation Peter Pan was a secret mission that took place from 1960 to 1962 and saw over 14,000 unaccompanied Cuban minors aged between 6 to 18 leave their country for the United States. The program was created due to fears by parents that Fidel Castro and the Communist Party were planning to take away parental rights and indoctrinate their children into communist centers called Patria Potestad. The operation was carried out by Father Brian O. Walsh of the Catholic Welfare Bureau, who led the mass evacuation of Cuban children to the United States via Miami. Operation Peter Pan was the largest exodus of minor refugees in the Western Hemisphere at the time and was conducted covertly to avoid any potential backlash as an anti-Castro political enterprise. However, an ongoing controversy developed around allegations that the operation was not carried out by volunteers and charitable organizations, but was secretly funded by the US government as a covert operation of the CIA. Number 6, Operation LAC. In the late 1950s, the United States Army Chemical Corps conducted a large-scale operation called Operation LAC, otherwise known as Operation Large Area Coverage. It was done to test the dispersal patterns and range of chemical and biological weapons. The operation involved spraying microscopic zinc cadmium sulfide particles over vast areas of the United States and Canada. The materials were dispersed by C-119 flying boxcar loaned by the US Air Force. The tests were designed to track the particles' dispersion and geographic range. During the first test and subsequently, much of the material dispersed ended up being carried out by winds into Canada, and particles were detected up to 2,000 miles away from their drop points. And if you guys don't know why this is all bad, cadmium sulfide was also classified as a probable human carcinogen by the EPA. So there's that. Thanks, US government. In the hump of our list, we have the Stargate project. The Stargate project was a CIA-sponsored initiative that aimed to create super soldiers using psychic abilities. That's crazy. The project was led by the US Army, and its objective was to study whether ordinary soldiers or intelligent agents could develop psychic abilities that could be harnessed and used for military purposes. This controversial project had a small group of less than 20 participants, and it was largely seen as a failure. Some believe that psychic abilities could be used as weapons against other governments. However, the idea of humans being harvested as psychic weapons was ultimately rejected. Nonetheless, the US military continued to explore the use of non-traditional methods in warfare. The film The Men Who Stares at Goats, released in 2009, gave the project a glimpse of what the Stargate project was all about. Number 4, the Tuskegee study. This experiment was designed to observe the effects of syphilis when untreated. So, you already know it's bad. It was conducted in 1932 by the US Public Health Service with 600 African Americans recruited from Alabama. The men consisted of 399 with latent syphilis and 201 as the control group with no syphilis. They agreed to the study because they were promised free healthcare, but they never got it. And they were originally being told that they were being treated for just bad blood. These men were giving only placebos such as aspirin and mineral supplements, rather than being treated with penicillin, which was the recommended treatment at this time. Many participants of the study then died, went blind, or even got driven to insanity, while others suffered from severe health complications due to their untreated syphilis. The story ended up arising back in 1972, and by that time, 28 more participants perished. 100 had passed away from related issues, and 40 spouses were diagnosed with it. As well, the disease even got passed down to 19 of their children. Despite an apology by President Clinton in 1997, the damages were already done, and this still remains one of the worst things that ever happened in the US. Number 3, Operation Northwoods. Perhaps the most famous of all leaked documents, this document outlines a plan proposed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff in 1962 to create a fake terror attacks against American citizens as a pretext for taking military action in Cuba. Ultimately, President John F. Kennedy rejected the proposal, but its release to the public prompted serious debate about US foreign policy and national security protocols. The document is also a reminder that government officials have at times been willing to use deception and manipulation for the purpose of political gain. But hey, is this all a surprise? Because this is nothing new. Number 2, Operation Mockingbird. This is an alleged secret program in which the CIA recruited journalists and members of the media to spread information favorable to US interests during the Cold War era. Documents released in the late 1990s revealed that the program, known as Operation Mockingbird, was designed to influence public opinion and promote pro-American policies. The agency reportedly recruited respected journalists from major media outlets such as New York Times, CBS News, and Time Magazine to report on events with a bias helpful to the CIA's causes. In some cases, the documents suggest that the journalists were well compensated for their services, and it's unclear how extensive the program was or how many journalists participated in it. But one thing is for sure, this thing is still happening to this day. So shout out to Elon for kicking all those guys out of Twitter and finally letting free speech become a thing. Number 1, Operation Gold. Operation Gold was a daring joint venture between the CIA and MI6 in response to the growing anxiety and fear over the potential of a nuclear war between the US and Soviet Union back in 1954. The aggressive nuclear testing by the Soviets spurred the two intelligence agencies to dig a tunnel beneath occupied Soviet territory in Germany, hoping to tap into conversations conducted by the Soviet Union. The tunnel was a remarkable feat of engineering, but its success was short-lived as the Soviets were quick to discover its existence, likely due to the mole planted within MI6's ranks by the name of George Blake. Blake, a communist and double agent, was discovered and imprisoned in 1961, but managed to escape to Moscow, where he lived as a Soviet hero until his death in December 2020. Well, these are the top 10 dark CIA missions the Pentagon leaked to the public. What do you guys think about this list? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts and maybe some suggestions for our future videos. I'm your host Andrew, and be sure to click that like button, subscribe, and that bell notification so you never miss a future video again. And I hope you guys have a scary day.